Your fuel bill is not rising only because gas prices are high. Most drivers lose money every single week because of small mistakes at the pump, bad driving habits, and a few hidden car issues they never notice. In this video, I'll show you the fuel-saving secrets that can instantly improve mileage, reduce waste, and help you stop giving gas stations extra profit for no reason. There's a reason your fuel bill feels heavier every month, and it's not just the price on the gas station sign. A huge part of the problem comes from hidden habits, pump mistakes, and small car issues that quietly steal mileage every single day without most drivers ever noticing. Most drivers think saving fuel means driving less, but that's only half the story. The smarter way is learning how fuel gets wasted, when stations profit the most, and which tiny fixes can give you back real miles per gallon without buying a new car. Let's start right at the pump. Filling at maximum speed feels faster, but it can actually work against you. High-speed flow creates more turbulence and vapor inside the nozzle, which means the process becomes less stable and potentially less efficient than drivers assume. A slower fill may take a little longer, but it often gives a calmer, cleaner flow into the tank. That's why smart drivers don't rush the pump. They focus on controlled filling because the goal is not just speed, it's getting a cleaner and more consistent fill-up. Now comes one of the biggest money traps: premium fuel. A lot of drivers assume premium automatically means better mileage or better performance, but if your car doesn't require it, that extra cost often gives you nothing useful in return except a higher bill. Octane is not magic power. It's simply a resistance to knock rating. If your engine is designed for regular fuel, filling it with premium usually doesn't unlock hidden performance. It just drains your wallet more efficiently than your fuel tank. Here's another hidden trap almost nobody talks about. If you pull into a station and a tanker truck is actively refilling the underground tanks, that is often the worst time to buy gas. Fresh delivery can stir up sediment and contamination inside the station's storage system. When those underground tanks get disturbed, debris that normally settles at the bottom can get mixed into the fuel environment. Even if station filters exist, this is still the kind of timing smart drivers prefer to avoid, especially if they care about cleaner fuel. A lot of people also believe the morning is always the best time to buy gas because fuel is cooler. That idea sounds smart, but modern underground tanks stay relatively stable compared to outside air. So the time of day matters less than most people think. What actually changes more is the seasonal fuel blend. Winter and summer fuels can behave differently, and that helps explain why mileage often rises and falls during the year. So if your MPG changes with the season, it may not mean your car suddenly developed a problem. Now look at the pump itself. Not every pump stays perfectly accurate forever. Older pumps, neglected pumps, and pumps with worn components may not inspire confidence. That's why experienced drivers quickly scan the machine before they ever start filling up. One of the smartest small habits is checking whether the pump looks maintained and whether inspection labels appear current and clean. Most people never look. That's exactly why this habit gives you an edge over the average driver standing beside you. Let's move away from the station and under the hood. A dirty air filter can quietly hurt mileage because the engine has to work harder to breathe. Less airflow means less efficient combustion, and less efficient combustion means more fuel used to do the same work. The reason this matters is simple. Most drivers ignore the air filter for too long. It's cheap, easy to check, and one of the fastest maintenance items that can improve how the engine responds, especially if the old filter is heavily clogged. Tire pressure is another huge MPG factor that drivers underestimate. Soft tires increase rolling resistance, which means your engine has to push harder just to keep the car moving. That extra effort turns directly into wasted fuel over time. The safest and smartest move is simple. Check tire pressure when the tires are cold and keep them at the manufacturer's recommended specification. Don't guess. Don't eyeball it. A few minutes with a gauge can protect both mileage and tire life. Short trips are another silent fuel killer. When your engine is cold, it runs less efficiently, and if your daily routine is made up of tiny drives, your car may spend too much time in its least efficient operating state. That's why combining errands matters more than people realize. One longer, well-planned drive usually wastes less fuel than several cold starts and short bursts. The difference adds up over weeks, and then over months it becomes real money. Now check your trunk. Hidden weight is one of the easiest reasons cars waste fuel. Old tools, boxes, sports gear, emergency junk, and random clutter all force the engine to carry more mass than necessary every single day. And it gets worse if you leave roof racks or cargo boxes attached when you don't need them. That adds both weight and aerodynamic drag. So you're not just carrying extra load, you're also cutting through more wind than the car was designed for. Oil choice also matters more than people think. If the oil is too thick for the engine and climate, the internal drag increases, especially during warm-up. That makes the engine work harder and can quietly hurt fuel economy. That's why the owner's manual matters. The recommended oil grade is not random. It's chosen for engine tolerances, temperature, and efficiency. Following that spec is one of the simplest ways to protect both the engine and your MPG. Now, let's talk about one of the smallest parts with one of the biggest reputations, the gas cap. If it's loose, cracked, or not sealing properly, vapor can escape and the fuel system may stop behaving the way it should. A bad gas cap seems too small to matter, but that's exactly why people ignore it. Sometimes the fix is as simple as tightening it until it clicks. Other times the cap or gasket needs replacement. Either way, it's a cheap item worth checking. A lot of drivers also get confused about AC versus open windows. At low speeds, windows down can be fine. But at highway speeds, open windows often create more drag, which can hurt mileage more than people expect. So the smarter rule is simple. In slow city driving, open windows may be okay. But on the highway, using the AC strategically with the windows closed often keeps airflow cleaner and the car more aerodynamically efficient. Sensors can also sabotage fuel economy without making a dramatic scene. If the MEF sensor gets dirty or an oxygen sensor becomes lazy, the engine may start using more fuel than necessary little by little, and most drivers won't notice it immediately. That's why periodic sensor care matters. A careful MEF cleaning and proper diagnosis of aging oxygen sensors can restore lost efficiency. Small electronic reading errors can become expensive fuel waste when they continue for months without attention. Idling is one of the most normal-looking bad habits on the road. Sitting still with the engine running feels harmless, but you're burning fuel while going nowhere. Over time, those wasted minutes become wasted gallons. Modern engines don't need long warm-ups the way older drivers often imagine. In most cases, the smarter move is to drive gently after starting rather than sitting still for long periods while the car slowly drinks fuel for no useful distance. Your cruising speed matters too. Most cars have a fuel efficiency sweet spot, and once you push beyond it, aerodynamic drag rises fast. That means a small increase in highway speed can create a surprisingly large increase in fuel use. That's why driving just a little slower on the highway can save real fuel over long distances. It doesn't feel dramatic in the moment, but on repeated trips, it becomes one of the most dependable fuel-saving habits any driver can adopt. Aggressive acceleration is another hidden budget killer. Every time you launch hard from a light, the engine has to dump more fuel to deliver that sudden demand. Smooth throttle inputs almost always reward you with better efficiency. Hard braking wastes fuel too, because every time you rush to accelerate and then slam the brakes, you destroy momentum that cost fuel to build. Smart driving is not just slow driving. It's smooth, planned, and consistent driving. Route planning saves more fuel than most gadgets ever will. Avoiding heavy traffic, combining stops, and choosing smoother roads can improve mileage without touching the engine. Often the cheapest fuel-saving upgrade is simply better planning. Station choice matters as well. Busy, reputable stations often cycle fuel faster, which means fresher stock and better maintenance habits overall. A station that looks cleaner and busier is often a smarter choice than a lonely pump nobody uses. Fuel savings are never just about one trick. The biggest wins happen when small habits stack together. Proper tire pressure, cleaner airflow, better station choice, less idling, smarter speed, and fewer useless heavy items in the car. What makes this powerful is that none of these fixes require some miracle product. Most of them are simple awareness and discipline. That's why they work so well. They save fuel not through hype, but through removing waste you didn't know was there. If you apply only one or two of these tips, you may notice a small improvement. But if you stack 6, 8, or 10 of them together, the savings become much more obvious. That's where the real power of fuel discipline starts to show. So before you blame only gas prices, remember this. The pump is not the only place money disappears. Your habits, your maintenance, and your timing all decide whether fuel gets stretched or wasted. Fix those, and you stop making gas stations richer than they need to be.